Finally, forward movement on the budget schedules. Article: After a difficult labor, the 2025 budget tables finally find their way to the Council of Ministers. Quote, the Iraqi parliament recently approved an amendment to the general budget related to Article 12, which settles a dispute between the Kurdistan region and the federal government over receiving the region's oil. What is it we're looking for? Budget tables, but before the budget table can even be shown, what was it we needed from Kurdistan? Oil flow, because it's going to open the tables in the budget. The oil is but one of many things that needs the new exchange rate. If you see that oil has been agreed upon and you see it's flowing and you see it coming to Baghdad, do you know how close you are to seeing those budget tables? Very close. If you are a financer and/or economists and really study how things work in the real world, it can be seen that increasing the rate of Iraqi dinar will make it more valuable, and thus more companies outside of Iraq will want it. Better yet, if you reinstate the dinar on the global trading platforms. Thus, the amount of trade won't even matter and the dinar will be more acceptable, and it will decrease the demand for the dollar on its own. Don't forget also that when the dinar is reinstated, it will be repeg off the sold dollar peg and pegged to a weighted basket of currencies. The next step is the in-country RV with the project to delete the zeros. Who will want the dollar when the dinar is more valuable in Iraq? So, as investors, we muddle through these trying times. We wait to see what the new Trump administration will do to help or hinder this situation in Iraq. Iraq is redrawing its economic map, precious metals in the facade. The government moves to diversify its non-oil sectors. They are sitting on tremendous reserves and now they are developing them. There is much more in Iraq's income than just oil. They have many gold, silver, and phosphate and precious metals. They have far more resources now than what they did under Saddam Hussein when the Iraqi dinar was worth over $3. Read last night's Dinar Guru updates below. Oil at 1,310 because there's a whole new ballgame coming to Iraq. It's a digital world, and Iraq's real effective value of their assets that they don't have much debt, non-oil revenues, taxation, gas. It's going to be amazing. The development road project, all the industrial cities they're going to build along that path. The private sector is going to go crazy. Question: how can they put bonds into circulation without a rate? Reference Guru Frank 26 Firefly, the 23rd of February 2025 post below. They're not in circulation. If someone told you they are, get away from them. They've told the citizens they can buy them, but they're not in circulation right now. Why? Would you buy them at 1,310? No. Because there is no exchange rate for it yet. Kurdistan oil to flow again within 2 days. Quote, Iraq is awaiting Turkey's approval to restart oil exports from the Kurdistan region via the Ceyhan pipeline within 2 days, Iraqi Oil Minister Hayyan Abdul Ghani revealed on Monday. Baghdad and Erbil form a joint technical team to inspect the readiness of the Kurdistan oil export pipeline. This pipeline had been mothballed for a couple years and is now roaring to life. They are planning to test it in the next 18 hours or so to start again moving oil through Turkey for sales. An agreement has been reached and confirmed to resume the export of Kurdistan oil. They're not going to use 1,310 as a value basis for this to happen. They're going to have an IMF multi-currency practices rule and compliance issues stopped. They're going to need a real effective exchange rate in dinar terms for this to happen. If this holds true, a change is to be coming. Iraq, which holds over $100 billion in reserves in the US, relies on American support to maintain access to its oil revenues. However, its financial standing could be at risk as US President Donald Trump has signaled a return to his maximum pressure policy on Iran. Iran has used Iraq as an economic gateway to access hard currency and bypass US sanctions. The Prime Minister discusses with the IATA delegation the procedures for lifting the European air ban on airlines they have had a multitude of exchange rates to study and experiment with over the last 7 years. They've done a great job of it. We call it a second set of books. It is actually more than that. It was called the RV phase, the revaluation of the Iraqi exchange rate to determine what rate they should use. It turns out the rate was pretty high, but logic will cause them to come out at a decent rate, maybe 1-to-1, or just do the right away at $3 plus. Eventually the float should take it to $4 plus EMO. Stay hopeful, we will get to the end of this. We don't know the exact timing, but so much is lining up. I am not ruling out February yet. When the new currency comes out, both Baghdad and the Kurds will use the same IQD, but only Sudani will control the currency. Only Sudani will control the country with the CBI. Sudani control the new exchange rate, not Barzani, not Parliament, not even Trump. The Iraqi Minister of Defense, Thabet al-Abbasi, announced on Tuesday that a new security agreement with the United States has been presented to the Donald Trump administration, stressing that the agreement is still under study. Al-Abbasi said in press statements reported by Al Arabiya Al Hadath channel, the new security agreement with the United States stipulates a sustainable security partnership and extensive intelligence cooperation. He added that the vacuum that occurred in Syria after the recent events forced Baghdad to reinforce the entire border strip, adding, "We will not withdraw Iraqi reinforcements until the Syrian side fully controls its borders." Al-Abbasi pointed out that Al-Hol camp and the prisons controlled by the SDF are a source of concern for Iraq, and the reinforcements on the Syrian border took into account the security vacuum if the SDF or American forces withdrew. Noting that Baghdad prefers the American forces to remain in Syria until a strong army is built or an agreement is reached with the SDF. Regarding the relationship with the new Syrian administration, the Iraqi Minister of Defense pointed out that there is no communication between the Iraqi and Syrian Ministries of Defense, indicating that the meeting of the head of the Iraqi intelligence service with the Syrian side conveyed purely security messages. A responsible source in the Iraqi Ministry of Finance stated on Monday that the delay in sending the federal budget tables to the Council of Ministers is related to amendments to Article 12 of the budget law. The Iraqi parliament recently approved an amendment to the general budget related to Article 12, which settles a dispute between the Kurdistan region and the federal government over receiving the region's oil. In summary, the Iraqi parliament voted in June 2023 on the draft general budget law for the fiscal years 2023, 2024, 2025, to approve special budget tables for those years, which will be sent by the Iraqi government to parliament for voting. The government source told Shafaq news agency, the Ministry of Finance has been working for some time on preparing the general budget tables for the year 2025, in order to send them to the Council of Ministers for approval. He pointed out that the Ministry of Finance will finish preparing the tables and send them to the Council of Ministers for voting on them in the middle of next month, noting that the Council of Ministers will vote on the tables without delay and then send them to the House of Representatives